beatings and even physical wars, simply because of our superstitions. So I was talking about even chanting. You know, one of the things which the Buddha said, it's a great teaching, and sometimes I get into trouble for teaching it, but it's straight from the word of the Buddha. When somebody once asked him, now when somebody dies, if we chant for them, does it really affect the person? And the Buddha said, imagine this, you take a pot of oil, it was actually ghee, but ghee is a type of oil. You take a clay pot of oil, and you take it to some sort of lake or pond, and you break it over that lake. Then, what would happen? The clay heavy part would go to the bottom, and the oil would float to the surface. Then, said the Buddha, suppose that some monk went to the side of that lake and started praying, or doing some chanting. Do you think because of that chanting, that the shards of clay will float to the surface and the oil will go down to the bottom? Of course not. It's in just the same way that beings will go according to their karma when they die. And for so often, all the chanting in the world just won't affect that. Maybe if you're just in between, you know, you've got some good karma, some bad karma, and it's maybe sort of a bit maybe we can give it a little nudge. But that's all that chanting can do, just a nudge. A lot of the time it's already settled, so it's a bit too late. It's just the same way as that woman who came to see us many, many years ago. This was actually my predecessor, Ajahn Brahm. But I think I was involved in this as well, because she came here one day because she was doing her end of the year examinations in UWA, and she wanted some chanting so that she'd have success in her examinations. And that's very often that we know when many young people come to our monastery in Serpentine, they go and see Sister Wayama in Gijigana, we know that must be just exam week. Why do you do that? Because this lady came there, she wanted some chanting, so we did some chanting for her anyway. We're kind monks. But afterwards we never saw her again. And we wonder what happened to her, so we saw one of her friends. Well, where's she gone? She'd gone back overseas or something? He said, no. She hasn't gone overseas. She's really bad-mouthing this monastery and temple. She's saying, you monks are terrible, you're hopeless, you don't know anything about Buddhism because our chanting didn't work, she failed. Now, that's a sad story. Obviously, it's nothing to do with the chanting, it's because she never did her work. But because she believed superstitiously that chanting is all you need, she was heedless, she never did her work. And that's the danger of superstitions. If we just believe that, okay, it doesn't really matter, that when we die, the monks will do the chanting for us, therefore I don't need to sort of be a good person, then of course, you know, you're in big trouble when the exam at the end of life comes, and you know what rebirth you get. So you have to be very, very careful. If you really want to be protected from bullets, then don't join the army. If you really want to be protected from bad luck, then do lots of good karma. And if you really want to be protected, you know, from misfortune, then be a kind and generous person.